his health.
He loved the clean or rarefied air and the coolness in summer. This seemed to be his kind of climate. He felt that he could think clearer. He found what he was looking for in his prose, really, the kind of, he used the imagery, he was looking for something very hard and not susceptible to emotion, to human emotion. So what he found in the mountains was a picture of a world where human emotion was trivial.
Philosophy, as I have so far understood and lived it, means living voluntarily among ice and high mountains, seeking out everything strange and questionable in existence, everything so far placed under a ban by morality. The ice is near, the solitude tremendous, but how serenely all things lie in the light. How freely one breathes, how much one feels lies beneath oneself.
In 1882, while travelling in Italy, the old hermit of Sils Maria, as Nietzsche called himself, met the one and only romantic love of his life, Lou Andreas Salome, a brilliant young student. Though only 20 years old, Nietzsche described her as being as shrewd as an eagle and as brave as a lion, and considered her to be his philosophical protégé. They were introduced by his friend, the psychologist Paul Ray, and throughout the course of that year, the three of them were inseparable. They travelled round Italy together, living as free spirits.
He was trying to live out his philosophy with companions, and he, during that vacation year in Italy, he always discussed the idea of founding an almost religious philosophical community in an old monastery or something like that. It was a fantasy of his. I think he did not only see Lou as the ideal companion of that community of scholars, but he was very attracted to her as a woman.
He proposed marriage to Lou Salome, who didn't want to marry him or anybody, and suggested a ménage à trois with him and Ray. And then a little while later, they had another meeting together in Leipzig, and then Ray and Lou Salome went off. And as time went on, Nietzsche realised that he'd been ditched. And he was in a fury of self-loathing, and his letters on this are quite, at this time, are quite convulsive. He says, I feel nothing but contempt on the part of everyone who meets me now. And clearly he had been thrown off of his rocker for a time.
This last morsel of life was the hardest I have yet had to chew, and it is still possible that I shall choke on it. I have suffered from the humiliating and tormenting memories of this summer as from a bout of madness. I am exerting every ounce of my self-mastery. Unless I discover the alchemical trick of turning this muck into gold, I am lost.
He wrote, if I am not able to turn all this muck to gold, I am finished. By muck he meant the state of mind and emotion that he was in. Well, he did, by writing Thus Spoke Zarathustra. Zarathustra is a fictional character, but it borrows most of his characteristics from Nietzsche.
When Zarathustra was 30 years old, he left his home and went into the mountains. Here he enjoyed his spirit and his solitude, and for 10 years did not tire of it. But at last a change came over his heart, and one morning he rose with the dawn, stepped before the sun, and spoke to it thus. Behold, I am weary of my wisdom. Like a bee that has gathered too much honey. I need hands outstretched to receive it.
Thus spoke Zarathustra. The book is the work of an isolated man, and it's clear from the figure of Zarathustra in the book itself, who has such problems finding disciples. In the first book, he preaches to the townsfolk in the town that he descends to from his lonely mountain, and finds that they don't have ears to hear him. Zarathustra then is an isolated figure. He doesn't immediately find the right audience. The book is, in a sense, a quest for the right audience, and a quest on Zarathustra's part to realize what his task is.
When Zarathustra came into the next town, which lies on the edge of the forest, he found many people gathered together in the marketplace. And Zarathustra spoke thus to the people. Behold, I will teach you about the Overman. Mankind itself is something that must be overcome.
Nietzsche proposes an ideal of self-overcoming, an ideal he calls the Overman, not by having recourse to a metaphysical realm outside of the human, but within the possibilities of the human. It's a paradoxical notion, but it's one that Nietzsche is asking us to consider. How can we, as humans, transcend ourselves?
The idea of the Overman came from Nietzsche's own battle for self-mastery. Human beings in general, he argued, had a duty to rise above the limitations of their own condition. But the original German term he created, Übermensch, can be interpreted in many ways. It is still often translated as Superman. This is a legacy of the Nazi era, when long after his death, Nietzsche was turned into a hero of the Third Reich. Nietzsche's Superman was able to be co-opted into fascist ideology because of the activities of his sister Elizabeth, who re-edited some of her brother's writings to promote the Aryan ideal.
Übermensch dürfen wir nicht verstehen als im Sinn, wie es die Nationalsozialisten missverstanden haben, die ja